Action! Hello and welcome to this week's episode of the Filmmakers Podcast. This is a podcast where we talk filmmaking, from indie films to studio films to high-end TV to documentaries and everything in between. How to get them made, how to make them, and how to turn out to royally F it up, in our very, very humble opinion. I'm Giles Alderson. I have lost my voice because I've been at the Cannes Film Festival chatting far too much shit and having far too many meetings and drinking far too much rosé. I will fill you in on that at the intro on Tuesday's episode, where we do an episode all about AI and what's happening moving forward there. And we'll do a Cannes special at the beginning there with Phil Hawkins as well, just to give you the update of what has happened, what we feel is happening in the industry at the moment. It's positive. I'd say it's positive. But anyway, for now, grab your shoulder pads and pour yourself a massive glass of champagne, because today we're travelling straight back to the 1980s. Yes, we have an absolute monster an episode for you. We're doing a full podcast takeover for the show everyone's talking about right now. It's the incredible adaptation of Jilly Cooper's legendary novel, Rivals. If you haven't caught it yet, it's brilliant, scandalous deep dive into the ruthless, glamorous world of 1980s independent sort of TV in that fictional country television. It's set in the fictional county of Rutshire. Yes, play on words there for sure. It is packed with massive egos, backstabbing, power grabs, unbelievable comedy, and some of the best 80s fashion you will ever see on screen. Some of that fashion I'm still wearing now. It is officially streaming on Disney Plus now, so make sure you get it on your watch list. It's so much fun. It's really brilliant, and the cast are amazing. And because the ensemble cast of this show is so massive, one interview simply wasn't enough. So today we're bringing you 4 separate sit-downs with the brilliant creators and the phenomenal cast to break down exactly how they brought this epic story to the screen. And quick reminder, if you prefer to actually watch our chats with the cast, all 4 of these interviews are available as fully filmed video episodes over on our YouTube channel, the Filmmakers Podcast. That's all you've got to search right now. So here's how today's masterclass is going to play out. First up, we're going to dive into the creation and directing of the show with the lead director and executive producer, Elliot Hegarty, alongside the brilliant writer and creator, Laura Wade. Then we sit down with the women who brought the comedy and the heartbreak to life, acting powerhouses Katherine Parkinson and Lisa McGrillis. After that, we're joined by the breakout rising star and the charming wildcard of the show, Bella McLean and Luke Pasqualino. And finally, we wrap it all up with the absolute power players of Rutshire themselves, the actors behind Rupert Campbell-Black and Cameron Cook, the incredible Alex Hassell, Nafessa Williams. It is a massive ultimate guide to acting, directing and adapting a high-end TV smash hit. So grab a pina colada, get yourself naked. Don't do that. Get your notebooks out. And let's kick things off with the creators of Rivals. Well, you can do that if you want it, but just do it maybe so you're not in the window. It's very hot at the moment. Just, think about it. Think about who might see it before you get naked. If you want to listen to this naked, it's your choice. You could be in the bath now. That's fine. You could be cycling. That's fine too. Just hopefully you're not naked. So let's kick things off with the creators of Rivals, Elliot Hegarty and Laura Wade. And I'll see you at the other side of that. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Wonderful. Sexy, exciting show.
Yeah.
But yeah, it has these wonderful, dark little moments and these little moments of brevity and small moments of pastiche and wonderfulness to it. When it first came to you, who got it first? That was the question I wanted to ask as well. How did you two get involved in the project? How did it come to you both? We'll dive in.
I think I came in first, didn't I? Because we had to write it before we could
get you.
Get a director involved.
But and so I came in after Dominic Treadwell Collins, who was the original. It was his idea, and he'd written to Jilly and got permission to do the books, and then he started putting together a team, and I was one of the people that came in at that point.
I see.
And that was when we were sort of sitting around working out how we would break down the book, and the idea came up of doing it as 2 series and working out what would happen where and what characters we were going to keep from the book and what characters we didn't have room for and all of that kind of stuff. So that went on for some months before we were at the point where we'd got greenlit and we started putting the production team together, which was when we got this amazing person.
Yes, on board, which is great. It must have been so much fun to receive that as a sort of gift, if you like. Hello, look at this on my table today.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, as soon as I loved the idea from my agent. My agent actually went, you probably won't want to do this, but...
As soon as they say
rivals,
that.
Yeah, as soon as your ears pop up.
Yeah.
And I go, why wouldn't I want to do that? And I think there was a kind of little bit of snobbery around Jilly Cooper before we set off with season 1. You know, we got it from musicians we approached, we got it from brands we approached. It's kind of strange element of snobbery that she was very commercial, that it was sort of, it's just about sex and nothing deeper than that. But as soon as it landed, I was incredibly excited because I just knew that it would have so many different elements going for it: comedy, drama, sex, romance, action. And I read it, and it was such a fantastic script. And, you know, I just immediately, the tone of it came to me, and I could see how it wanted to be made and how you wanted to just shoot it completely straight, shoot it like a drama, but not that you can't just lean into a bit of the comedy here, a needle drop there. You know, you want to kind of enjoy all the different genres, but not at the sacrifice of any one of them. So the best way of doing that is just to kind of shoot it straight, but just keep an eye on all these elements. Surround yourself with the right people, surround yourself with people with a sense of humour, and then the comedy, you know, the comedy sort of looks after itself.
Yes.
The real challenge was just keeping an eye on that tone.
Yes, because that must have been like the hardest bit is the tone. And obviously you did the first 3 episodes, or maybe more in the first season, the first 3 in this, first 4. Setting that tone is the hardest bit. Working with actors, working with your production crew, working with designers, you're writing it in that sense as well to go, what is the tone? And if that tone had slightly been skewed at a certain angle or a different way, would it have worked as well? And who knows, but you hit it out the park so well. How did you plan that? What was the basis for that in terms of let's go back to the writing side. By the way, I saw your play Posh at the Royal Court.
Oh, did you?
Fantastic. Years ago. Yeah, absolutely
you.
loved it. So I was hanging around the Royal Court because we were part of the writers program and stuff.
Oh, were you?
So it was really cool. And then obviously you turned that to the Riot Club, which did really well, which is really nice. So obviously your writing, I can see why this would work for you and why this be sort of your bag a little bit in terms of that height and sort of talk, but also with the undertone. What was it that you sort of delved into within the writing, and then developed that into getting the tone right?
I think we had such ambition for this as a big piece of work, and something that would be really muscular and meaty and romantic and fun and fruity and silly and all. So there was so many things that we wanted it to be, and that was all growing out of what we felt the book was. And so it was trying to distill that spirit, and draw out all of the things that we really loved about the book. But I think we were all still finding our way, weren't we, in the first season? And one of the glorious things about coming back to it this time is that we know what our tone is, and we know that it works, and everybody knows what show they're in. Everybody knows what show they're writing for, and that's allowed us to really just like punch even harder this time.
Right. Yeah, which totally makes sense because you can push it that little bit of way. But what was it in the book though that because it's so hard to adapt a novel, especially like this, and to give it that fresh spin, sort of, and it's great, it's set in the 80s, which is fab. But how did you actually break that down to go, okay, did you go through each chapter? It'd be really interesting. Basically, so if you don't know, we're the Filmmakers Podcast, so we're all filmmakers. We talk about
the technical
screenwriting,
stuff.
the technical side. So that's why I'm diving into that side of it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think quite a lot of it was character-based, like which characters did we want to follow through? So we knew, for example, that Rupert and Taggy, that's your big romance that goes through it. But then I think we were surprised by quite how much the Lizzie and Freddie romance also became beloved. But that, that was something that was covering a slightly different age demographic as well, and kind of Lizzie being there for a segment of the audience that are the slightly older Jilly readers. So that was there. And then we had the big arc of the Carinian Venturer franchise battle, which sounds terribly dry when you sort of talk about it, but we were finding like the big moments in that war campaign, basically. And then we kept as well going back to Rivals as a title. Rivals, like where are the rivalries? So there was the big Tony and Rupert rivalry that we know has been going on forever before the story starts with us. And then Declan comes in and disrupts it. And then he's on Tony's side, and then he gets onto Rupert's side. And so then Tony's against the two of them, and then Cameron's involved. So all of those things. So if we ever felt like we were sagging at any part of the story, it was quite useful to go say, well, which rivalries are we looking at now, or what rivalry do we need to take care of, and make sure that was looped back in.
See.
And then it becomes about kind of, I sometimes think of it like a tapestry where you've got lots of different coloured strands and you're trying to weave them through into a nice picture and trying to make sure that none of them kind of get dropped. If that makes sense.
It totally makes sense, which must be very difficult when you do have to drop things or things that you're really rooting for, and like, this, but because you can't fit all of it in, it can be really tricky. How for you then, when you're receiving these scripts in the first place, how involved are you in developing, certainly with the first season at that point, coming on board? Are you adapting in some way? Are you putting your voice onto that as well?
Yeah, I'd like to think so. I mean, when you're trying to visual something and bring something from the page to the screen, the script is a jumping off point. It's not it's not a blueprint that you follow every single, because sometimes what works on the page doesn't always work. So it's always an adaptation. And I think when you're thinking about tone, often you're thinking about what is it not? So it's not Carry On Up the Cotswolds. It's not soap.
No.
It's not, and these are all pitfalls. What are the pitfalls for this job? And when you got an ensemble piece with lots of disparate characters, how do you bring them together and consolidate it and have it a kind of enjoyable watch? So I sort of looked at Magnolia, Paul Thomas Anderson, which is also, about,
it's one of my favourite movies.
Yeah,
me too.
It's a disparate group of people who are all geographically linked. Stories are kind of linked. But to see how he linked those stories without it feeling soapy, or and then. And then he obviously, his great reference was things like Goodfellas, but also Nashville by Robert Altman, another film which is with a lot of different characters linked by camera movement and music and needle drops. And so I looked at those sort of references and Goodfellas, and to see that this roller coaster feel that you get, high highs, low lows, and through camera movement, weaving in and out of these character stories, you get an ebb and flow. You don't get a staccato, soapy, and then 45 seconds per scene. Each scene has a little peak and then a dip, and so you get this repetitive nature. We like to kind of make it, you look at a whole episode and it wants peaks and troughs that it glides through and takes you, and sometimes it's score, sometimes it's commercial music, and usually there's a big event in the middle and there's a lead up to that and then a fall off from that, and sort of and then hit people with a really hooky end. And that seems to be the way we sort of make the episodes, right? So that seems to work as I tell.
Which makes sense. And obviously coming from film background as well, you went to London Film School.
That's right, yeah.
And you made your first feature film for a reasonable budget, from what I can tell.
Yeah,
how, in terms of the crossover from film to TV, and it's so interesting you're talking about films there that really meant something as well to me, and I didn't think that they would come up today with the Goodfellas, Nashville, really exciting films, and Magnolia as well. And in terms of putting that into this, and now I see why it works so well, because you've got these sort of threads in this. What is it for you with moving from film to TV, and now being really established now in TV, but bringing that, I suppose, headspace from feature filmmaking, which does need that sort of longer arc sometimes than episodic TV?
Yeah, I think it's now we're blessed to be in a world where TV is as good as cinema and has expectations that are as high as they are in the cinema. Sadly, cinema, the audiences are dwindling and everyone's because everyone's very happy with their content on TV. It looks great.
Yeah.
Great actors.
Yeah,
brilliant
big
writers.
screen now. Yeah.
Yeah, your tellies are bigger. It's cheaper. But to bring that kind of aesthetic and no compromise to television, I think, I'm always just thinking of whatever I make, I'm thinking of a movie on a big screen. I think it's a world now where there's so much more work in television, and we're great to have the resources to make something like Rivals. You need a hell of a lot of resources. It's a period movie.
Yes.
Even though it's in some of our memories and some of our lifetimes, it is a period film. So to have the resources to really delve into that with all these wonderful actors and these sets and these costumes, it's a real gift.
Yeah, it's a real treat. I suppose when I first thought of this, it reminded me of The Manageress or Footballer's Wives. But yet this is like the more beautiful, more, beautifully shot, more elegant, more interesting, deeper characters in some way.
Yeah.
And that was so interesting to watch and so interesting to see. When you're adapting and keeping going with the second series and exec producing, how are you picking sort of new storylines, new ideas? What is it now that you find that go, okay, this will work for me? And is there constantly new things you're thinking of now for even season 3 that you go, that'll work? Are you saving things? Is that something you think of?
We do, yeah.
Right.
We do think about that. And sometimes, we'll talk about something and then go, but it would be such a shame to do that now because we wouldn't have time to fully develop it. And so let's park it for another series. With the second series, I suppose we knew, because we'd broken the book kind of halfway for the first series, and then we had an amount of story left to tell, but also because Disney gave us 12 episodes instead of 8 this time, so we had a load more space. So we were able to really kind of like flex our muscles and do some fun stuff that maybe would feel slightly tangential, but were always kind of bringing us back to the main arc of the story. So things like Sarah Stratton's dinner party in the second episode, which is only a tiny sort of couple of pages in the book, we decided to make a big set piece out of. And that's, we have our most fun, I think, when we're creating our big set pieces. And so we had a bit more space to do things like that this time. And that was really special. And there are some other big ones coming up, I think, in like 4 and 5. There's some really cool stuff. And then later in the right at the end of the series in episode 10, there's a hunt ball that Elliot directed, which is quite posh.
Yes. Okay.
So
it really is, isn't it?
There we go.
Even more debauched, I'd argue there.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
That's pretty debauched.
Yeah.
Take a little further.
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
We have.
That must be quite nice, though, as well, to have that in your mind. And when you're sitting, do you sit on your own and write as well, or is it always in teams now? It's always so interesting to know.
A lot of what I think we work to a model that's slightly different from the American model, where you spend weeks and weeks and weeks together in a room. So we tend to, certainly on this project, we'll spend a few days together breaking the story or deciding what goes in what episode, and then individual writers will go away and take their episode and storyline it, come back with a plan, a scene-by-scene plan of what, and then everything has to work together. So if you've done something in episode 3 that doesn't agree with something that's happened in episode 2, then we in the script team have to sort of like clean that up, or we have to make sure that things aren't being repeated, or that you haven't got characters on an endless loop, for example. But when the time feels right, we do a few drafts of those, and then again, everybody goes off to their own houses to write drafts of the script.
Right.
And then those get submitted. And one of my favourite things about being an exec is then being able to be involved in that next stage of the process, where we read the scripts as they come in and go, this is exciting, just like rip the envelope metaphorically open and see what they've done. And then again, we have to kind of make everything agree with each other and work out, all that, maybe that bit of story ought to go later, actually, because we're wasting it by putting it there, or we need to reveal that early, or there's quite a lot of information drip that has to happen with a story this big, when you've, for example, if you've got an intrigue story about one of the companies having a mole working within it, then you need to have, you're dripping a little bit of that into each episode and making sure that it's building at the right rate. So within that, we have a really brilliant script team whose job it is to work alongside us execs and just keep an eye on like everything kind of being calibrated right. So that's kind of how it works. And then, so there are moments where we all come together around a table and then we sort of go off again.
Okay. Is your room like full of, not just your room, but the writer's room's like full of notes on the wall? Here's your arcs. This is where this needs to go. I just want a visual picture.
Yeah, we sit there with a big sheets of paper on the wall for each episode. And then we have to make sure that nobody's like nicked them.
Or Post-its falling off in the wind.
The script team have to like very carefully like take them down and hide them somewhere so that nobody sees them.
Yeah.
I spend my life like terrified that I'll leave something on a tube kind of thing. But which was an interesting difference from season one to season 2 because nobody knew what we were doing.
Of course.
First time round. You know.
Whereas now people are like, no, we're desperate.
Now we're very
much
like, I can't tell you what happened.
Following you on the tube to see where the sticky notes might be.
We're all like, keep the secret. So it would be really upsetting if we accidentally dropped it.
Yes, of course. So that's one of your favourite parts of making. What about one of yours, Elliot? Your favourite part of actually making a series like this?
I mean, I'm always a big fan of the edit. You know, the shoots are kind of brutal physically, mentally. They take a lot of time. They take a lot of effort. You're collaborating with hundreds of people. That's kind of, you get thousands of questions coming at you all day. I'm not the type of director who loves a shoot. I suffer it. And but then when you get to the edit, you know, a lot of people call the edit, it's where hope finally dies. Because this is all you have. These are the rushes. This is what you have to make the film out of. But then there's a new thing happens where you kind of rewrite it and it's just you and one other person collaborating together quietly in a room, and the film starts to kind of form, and you put music on it and sound effects. And, you know, sound is, I always like say 51% of what you're watching is sound. So once you get the effects on it, once you get the music on it, once you're telling the viewer what to feel and put the sort of right piece of score on it, or, you know, something that's, you know, a bit of temp score, you begin to see this thing emerge. And it's that moment that I just love that part of it. And then it's, you know, the note process of the edit.
And you send it back.
And we send it back and we all look at it and like, you know, and you want to try and impress people and surprise them. And I always saw the script like this, but actually now you've brought this. So that's the challenge I love, is kind of to surprise the other execs in the edit.
That's amazing.
Happy surprises, I like.
Happy surprises. I agree. You want you to go, oh my God, that was a really cool moment, a really lovely shot. Oh, I see what you did with that character.
Yes,
that
exactly.
That moment. Yeah. Brilliant. Listen, thank you so much for your time.
Oh, thank you.
Huge congrats on the show.
Great
chat.
Can't wait to see the extra episodes now.
Yeah.
Super.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys.
Fantastic. Thanks a lot.
Cheers.
Great to meet you.
What a brilliant look behind the camera with Elliot and Laura. That was so interesting about how it came to life, where they find their stories, what they might leave behind, how the writer's room works. That's fascinating. So next up, we're moving in front of the lens to talk to two of the finest comedic and dramatic actors working in television right now. They play the overlooked but brilliant romantic novelist Lizzie Varica and the incredibly smart and stylish Valerie Jones. So with the two of them, with Katherine and Lisa, Dom Lenoir joined me for this interview where we talk about finding the emotional truth in the high camp 80s comedy and how they collaborate with directors on massive sets. So please welcome to the show, Katherine Parkinson and Lisa McGrillis.
So many caffeinated drinks
I
today.
Got to limit that caffeine
When
intake.
somebody offers one, I just instantly say, yes, please.
Same, because it's nice to be offered one. It's nice if someone gives you a cup of tea or coffee, isn't it?
And then five coffees later and you're shaking.
Shaking
and
and-
maybe this wasn't the best choice.
But it's only 11 o'clock. You're trying to get through your day.
I know.
Yeah.
I
two
know.
I feel like a wanker saying DJ.
And also, there's no point. There's no
Coffee
point.
wanker.
Coffee wankers.
No.
It's true. Halfway through your day now, I feel like a big coffee wanker.
So
So
anyway,
on that
note,
talk about coffee wanking.
I've never heard it as like an active verb
I don't
before.
think it can be. I don't think you
Coffee
can verbally
wanking.
do it.
Coffee wanking.
There we go. Maybe we start thinking.
I think it's been done, hasn't
I
it?
think it's
It might have been done.
Not
yeah.
by me, I have to say.
No, I don't know. Whether...
You're always coffee
Yeah, I
making.
know.
Yeah.
It's the thing on
Yeah.
set.
That's a
it's got
trademark.
known for it. So, this is dangerous. Very dangerous.
So, I mean, massive congratulations on season 2 so far. We watched the first 3 episodes. Your character is very heartfelt. Your character is definitely going through the ringer.
She's going through the ringer.
You're both very funny individuals, and it's a very funny show, and it's got a very specific tone. I'd love to just chat initially about how you sort of figure out the drama, comedy, diving into the 80s balance, because that feels like something maybe really important to figure out when you first joined the show.
There was a very interesting. I always think back to the very first day of series 1 when we were all in Valerie and Freddie's living room, and we were all sort of stood there going, "Who's the first to speak?" And they're going to set the tone, because what is the tone?
Yeah.
And it was interesting. We were all like finding it, because it is very funny, but then also it's really dark. So it's quite nice going into
I
series
remember
2.
your outfit on that first day, which you looked like
And hair.
and a Christmas cracker.
Yeah,
And a sort of bow that you
Yeah.
hitting you in the face.
yeah, it was a
But yeah.
big bow.
No, I think there is a heightened realism.
Yeah.
And I think that we all quite quickly kind of got the hang of that, because it is sort of implied in the excellent writing. But I think also it was sort of done in the casting. I mean, I was a fan of Lisa's before. I'm not a fan anymore now. I know her.
Obviously.
Past tense.
Yeah, but I just think that
Former colleague.
Yeah.
the actors they got.
Former colleague, Jason Grillis.
I think they cleverly went for actors who, like Lisa,
Cleverly went for you.
they were a genius when they
Genius,
cast me.
Yeah. They made sense.
That was smart of them.
They're
And then
so
they
clever.
cast you. Because she sort of does performances that are comedic but based in truth. And so I think it was an easy way in for all of us, because it was kind of what we all do. Yeah.
It's what you do.
I mean, how is it in TV, like the sort of the briefing of like what it's going to be like versus film? Like when you, like first day on set, you just said about sort of figuring it out. Was anyone there going through like roughly what the world was or anything like that? Or is it all just on the page?
I think it is on the page, because like you as actors, you get to read so many scripts, and some of them are good and some of them aren't very good. And then you have to do a lot of work to try and make it good. But I guess with Rivals, like you read it and you were like, straight away it lifts off the page and is
Unrivaled.
Yes.
unrivaled. Wow.
Use that
I know.
But
Use
it's
that one in every
unrivaled.
interview. Maybe.
Yeah, very
Just
good.
getting it in.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it is there. I haven't done loads of films. How does it compare?
Waitrose are using that, actually.
Are they?
He had a line about it.
Weren't we
had a line about
Unrivaled
that.
in the Sunday Times as well?
Oh, that's what it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not
God,
Waitrose.
get it right, Katherine.
Yes.
I'm going to pretend I have done lots of films, but I also haven't done.
You've done quite a
That's
few
true.
films.
You've done a
really
few.
have. I have
Yeah,
really.
yeah.
But I was thinking back to that first day. I remember Emily and I had fake cigarettes, because
Yeah.
in Wales, I don't know if this is still the case.
It
you
is.
can't. You can only smoke on camera with these quite large, heavy electronic cigarettes.
That's a rule.
Yeah.
And-
In Wales, you're not allowed to
And
smoke.
do you remember
That's great.
mine heated up in my hand, and it was burning my hand, and I thought, I can't pull attention to myself and make myself look like I'm a difficult person to work with. So I let
Right.
my hand sort of gently go nearly on fire
Vaporised.
before I said, "Oh, sorry, I think this is blowing up."
This is blowing up.
And then they came in and sorted it out.
I had a line to Danny because both of our houses, we've got a new house in Series 2, but I had a line to Danny is like, don't smoke. I've read in the New World that smoking gives you cancer. And that basically meant that nobody smoked in the house. That was us getting away with it. But you can't smoke in Wales. And on the BBC, I'm doing a show at the moment, and I was like, I think she would smoke. And apparently only characters who are baddies or have bad intentions are allowed to smoke. Yeah. So
Yes.
I'm not allowed to smoke.
Both of you find
very
that.
good.
Yeah, sorry.
You don't smoke in. Do you smoke in
I think she smokes when she's sort
after
of having
sex?
having fun with Freddie, when she's being her true authentic
Yeah.
self.
Well, what about directors? Like, what is it you look for? Like, obviously, done loads of TV shows, and new directors come in all the time. What is it that works for you when they first come in? They're trying to put something or impart something on you. What is it that works and what doesn't work?
Praise.
Yeah.
Praise, just lots of praise.
No. I think it's true that, isn't it? Unlike
true.
like in a TV show, you do have different directors coming
All the
in,
time.
and the advantage though is that you are with a character for a long time. Whereas I imagine on films, if you're a big part in the films, you've got to kind of get the hang of things very quickly. But I think that I really enjoyed working with all these directors. They're such huge set pieces that there isn't always a loss of kind of time for them to give you too many notes, which I think is good because sometimes it's hard to do too many notes. I like a specific note. And I remember once doing a TV show and getting a really good note from a director, which was be more lawyer than mother. And that was just sort of specific and playable. And
but not too specific.
But not too specific.
Okay, and yourself?
I also think, so we've got Elliot Hegarty, who is our lead director. And what was brilliant with this show is that he set it up. He set up series 1. And then we had other directors come in and he would sort of say he passed the Bible over to them. The tone was set. We kept the same Steadicam camera operator who stayed with the show throughout. And that generally gives it, so he knew
steady influence.
That really helps more than I think people realise when you've got steady influence.
Please don't.
No,
Keep doing it.
I don't normally appreciate
need praise.
puns, but I quite like that.
You've got
I
loads,
like
haven't you?
That's good.
Desperately trying to get them
But
in.
wasn't it nice having Just on there all the time? Because
he was brilliant.
He was just like, it means, because you can get shy of a camera when it's somebody you don't know behind it.
Yeah.
And because it was,
especially in the more intimate
Lisa
scenes.
was sleeping with him.
could
So
imagine.
we
Yes.
Yeah. Just someone
That
just
is That is, of course, a joke.
Yes, thank you for
Could
clarifying.
we just say I was not sleeping with him?
Yes, we can say that. We can say
Yeah.
that.
But he was very good because he was there throughout. So on the second series, he was there for the first series, and for the second series, he was there for the whole 10 months. So I think that you end up sort of forming, you kind of know where he's going to be, and that puts you at ease. But and then Elliot again came back this time to set up the second series, and then he came and finished off the series as well. So
And
there
we
was
had Dee
and Dee,
coming
our
back
wonderful
as well,
Dee.
and then we
So
had Jamie, who was new but lovely. So
And you prefer that? That's always nicer, isn't it, to have the same team that will come back?
it is. It is.
I prefer it.
It's a shorthand, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they turn up with their coffee, wandering around,
Yeah.
putting
I
it down,
prefer
even
it.
It's
staying
a
there.
shorthand.
on that note, we have to wrap up here. But it's been lovely chatting to you. Loads of fun. Very
This has
illuminating.
been unrivaled.
She beat you to it, 'cause I'll cut your bit out.
Yeah, lovely to chat to you both, and congratulations on your very interesting, unique, funny characters.
Lovely.
Thank you.
Thank you very
you.
much. Nice to meet you.
Lovely.
Nice to meet
Great
you,
chat.
though.
Very good chat.
Huge thank you to Katherine and Lisa. And yes, there's some filth in there that isn't in our YouTube video. The reason for that is because the PR company didn't send over the filth that was at the beginning. I've kept it in the podcast because I think it's fun and great. It's not in the YouTube because I edited that beforehand. Anyway, that's why, if you're going to send in the letters of complaint, that is why. I would have kept it in the YouTube. We probably got banned, but anyway. So, huge thank you to Katherine and Lisa. That was brilliant. Our Rivals Takeover continues. It rolls right along. For the next segment, we are sitting down with two actors who are playing absolute fan favourite characters. She plays the grounded moral compass of the show, Taggy O'Hara, and he plays the dashing, dangerous Basil Baddington. We dive into the realities of the audition process and how to stand out and build a character arc within a massive ensemble cast. Couldn't say cast then for a second, so please welcome the brilliant Bella McLean and the ace, Luca Pasqualini.
Big congratulations on season 2 so far.
Thank you.
Really gripping. I feel like there's a lot of drama, especially from your characters. Like it's a very tonally interesting show. There's lots of comedy, but there's a lot of heartfelt stuff coming from your season arcs this series. I'd love to know like how you approached it when you first got there, sort of what you were told maybe about how to play that the 80s versus the comedy versus like the drama, because you sort of feel like the vein of that audience empathy.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of it, sort of series 1 with a show like Rivals, it is funny, it is sort of heartbreaking, there's a lot of drama, there's a lot of scandal, there's just so many different sort of ingredients to it. I think for me personally, it was just sort of trial and error, really. And you don't really know. I find it quite difficult personally to sort of try and get the tone of what it was. But then obviously season 1 came out and you watch it, so you can see what this kind of tone of it is like. So then you can sort of carry that on into series 2, even though there are sort of slightly darker themes this year. It's, you still sort of carry that tone with it. And then obviously in between seasons, Dominic and Alex, our exec producers, and they kind of sat us down individually and just said, what sort of thing do you want to sort of, sort of unfurl with your character, and this is what we're thinking. And so it sort of made us real part of the sort of process going into series 2. So we had a nice idea of where our characters were going to go. So then, we sort of got to sort of play with it a little bit, really. And as everyone's so supportive of each other, it's nice to know that you've got that sort of safety blanket if you ever feel sort of unsure about anything, which is great.
That is great.
And you, Bella?
Well, I think like the same.
Yeah.
I mean, like not even so as a cop out. That is kind of exactly what it is.
Exactly.
Whenever the whole interview, I'm like, what he said.
Yeah, what he said.
What he said.
Well,
yeah.
I mean, maybe just to expand, like your first day on set, like just sort of figuring out how to play your character, like how to sort of balance it. Was it kind of showrunner conversation before that you mentioned? Was it like working with the director?
I think, all of the above, and also just sort of giving something and seeing if you sort of work it out. Also, I think so much of the time you don't really know what it's going to be like until you meet everyone else you're working with. You can have ideas about a scene and how you want to play it, but then the moment you're in a scene with another actor, it sort of gets flipped on its head. And that happens all the time, and that definitely happens second series too. Even when I'm acting, I think the first scene I did was walking. I don't even know if that scene's in the show anymore, but I just walked along a field with Gertrude, the dog, and the dog was misbehaving the entire time. And it's the sweetest dog ever, and it's a fantastic dog. But it's never me.
No shade on Gertrude.
No, it's actually the dog was being a complete
professional pro.
Yeah, he didn't know what he was doing. But I taught him everything. He knows. But no, he was just being really frustrating and wouldn't do anything. And so the scene just basically did. It was me just sort of trying to act with the dog and look.
Exactly.
Just feeding it relentless amounts of food.
But the film
That's a really bizarre example I've used. Just the dog.
There we go.
I got 40 actors to choose, and I was like, well, the dog.
The dog.
When you're with
Forget
the
the
dog in a
actors,
scene, you've really got to be present now.
You're not scared of them going, she can't act with a dog. We should get rid of her.
Get the dog gone.
Yeah, people worry more about Bella than the dog.
Right?
Yeah.
Absolutely. What about working with directors? Because you both work on massive TV shows. And on those shows, obviously, different directors come in all the time. What is it you want from a director who's just stepping into a show that you've established and you've established your character?
I want them to tell me everything I'm doing is amazing.
Yeah.
Or wrong.
Go on, man.
I don't think there's any one particular thing that I personally want from a director. I think just, I say that. I mean, just somebody that is open to
praising,
the coherence of ideas and stuff. Open to praising.
Open to just giving me compliments. Yeah.
Just the coherence of ideas and just sort of being able to explore different sort of versions of a scene and different sort of versions of a line, and just sort of a bit of a collaboration and stuff. Really, it's just I think that's sort of the most. And every good director will do that anyway. They sort of they value us as actors, and obviously we value them as directors. So to talk about the scene before we get cameras on sticks and just shoot it. I think it's that's all we can really ask for. Really. Yeah.
The same for you.
Wait, can I just? No, that's the same.
Are you going to do it?
No, it's annoying. Can I ask him second?
I'm going to answer the next question first.
Okay, so I'm going to say playing around with different ways to play the scene. How much freedom do you have in TV? Like, cause, film, it's kind of it's a different pace, but TV, it's obviously a very tight schedule. You've got a big ensemble. How much room do you get to play like different ways to do a scene or experimenting for?
I think it depends. What he said.
Why aren't you saying it?
The dog anecdote was good. Let's build the dog.
The dog anecdote.
What were the different ways you played the scene with the dog?
I think it just depends on the director, and I also think it's different. Coming back for season 2, we work with 2 of the same directors again, and so they know us really well. They know the way we work or like to work, and also we trust them and trust what they. Elliot, who was the sort of head director on the show, has a quite clear image, and
we trust him and trust his ideas, and same goes for Dee. And they're really collaborative as well. So if there's ever a time that you want to sort of try something different and flip it on its head, they never make it feel like you're asking something really inconvenient.
Is there any examples of bad direction that you've been given over the years? Not necessarily on this show, maybe even not on this show, but what's not helpful for you?
I mean, I was once told on a show quite a few years ago, they said, can you just do that again, but just better?
Brilliant. That's the classic.
Yeah. That's funny.
Wow.
Yeah.
Did you do it again and better? You better have.
Yeah, exactly.
You bloody better have.
I mean, you did it.
He asked.
Well, I did it again. So I was 50% of the way there.
That's
wasn't
good.
better.
Yeah, you did one half.
51% the second take.
But that's a terrible
do it again.
But
It's a terrible note.
That's a terrible note.
It's a
What are you
terrible
supposed to
note.
do with that? That's
It's a terrible note.
nothingness. It
Yeah.
doesn't. Which bit was not good?
Yeah,
yet,
exactly.
Right?
Yeah, better in what way?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially when I
Well, you
already
should
thought
just
it
be better, for God's
You can't do
sake.
the beat.
especially when I already thought it was
boring.
The dog's bollocks, literally.
Yeah.
Bringing it back to the dog.
Always blame the
Yeah, the dog, yeah.
Yeah. What about you, Bella? What do you like from direction then? I suppose if there's not a bad example, because otherwise you're going to say what he said. I had the same note.
Yeah.
Oh, I just like when I like it when someone has quite a strong opinion of a scene. I think it's good because it means that there's always something to work against. I always say, anything to work against. If you go in and obviously, well, I'll have an idea of a scene and they'll have an idea of the scene, and usually putting the two together makes it hopefully more interesting. And I think with directors, they're always looking at it from sort of a bird's eye view, which is something that I don't have the gift of looking. I don't know if I necessarily have quite a directorial brain, but I appreciate it because you're sort of selfishly thinking about your character the entire time, and you're thinking about your motive and what you want and what you want to achieve in a scene or whatever it is, even if it's not that. And I think a lot of directors will see all the moving parts and go, actually, I think it'd be quite good for that and that to work off, and that scene will be better if that happens or we play it like that. So I think I'd sort of trust if you have a really fantastic director, they'll
know how to direct the dog.
Yeah, they'll just, well, yeah. Actually, I need to speak to Elliot. I have to go.
Yeah, exactly.
But no, yeah. I usually, someone who has a good, strong opinion on what they want.
Yeah.
Which is what as directors we want.
Yeah, just
so
a clear image. Yeah. Because that's nice, because you also want to, if hopefully for me, you want it to be a collaboration, and you want to make their sort of dream of what they hope the scene is come true. And so if you hope, rather than just sort of not saying anything and letting you sort of suffer in silence,
that's great.
Just do it just to get it right.
Get it right first time, but better. Right?
And he should know better, actually.
He should have known better. He was younger then.
I was going to start directing it.
You should.
You should go on that note.
Do you want to? Is that actually something I know you don't want to do?
I would like to direct one day, but I don't feel any ready for that yet.
Okay.
I think I need a bit more. I think I need to learn a little bit more before I get into that director's chair.
Okay. Well, listen, both of you, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Pleasure.
Pleasure.
We learned a lot about dog acting today.
Yeah, we did.
Yes.
You're welcome.
Yeah,
Thank you so much. Congrats on season 2.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
That was
Thank you
great.
so much, guys.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Woohoo! That was Bella and Luke. That was fun. I'm going to say what he said. That was brilliant. So now to wrap it up, this massive rival special, we're bringing out the heavy hitters. He plays one of the most iconic, dashing and dangerous literary characters of the 20th century, Rupert Campbell Black. And she plays the fierce, taking prisoners American TV executive Cameron Cook. So we dive into building undeniable on-screen chemistry and the psychology of playing characters who use charm and indication and intimidation as weapons. So to close out the show, please welcome the amazing Alex Hassell, who has starred in 2 of Fizz and Ginger's films, by the way, 2 Down and The Isle. Check them out, they're amazing. And Nafessa Williams. Enjoy.
Hello.
How are we doing? All right?
Yeah, we're good.
We're
Thanks,
good.
yeah.
Welcome to the Filmmakers Podcast. Thanks for
you.
joining us. Alex, good to see you again.
Yeah.
Obviously, we know each other
Indeed.
in past films and past lives. Yeah, with Matt and Tori, but
Yeah, exactly.
Excellent. I know, we love that. But let's dive straight in with the rivals. Why not?
What an
Dive straight in.
explosive season 2.
Yeah.
Cool. Have you
Yeah.
seen the first 3 of you?
We have, yes.
Oh, nice.
Yes.
Nice.
Yeah.
I mean, you're obviously stuck in a very intense love triangle.
I am.
I think most people are.
It's like triangle.
Something going on.
You might take the crowd though for the.
Yeah,
for the
some of them are squares.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
They keep going.
yeah, we're trying to get as many points as possible.
Yeah,
exactly.
As the seasons go on, everyone's just
Yeah.
doing it with
But,
everyone.
but it's such a unique tone, the whole series in general. Like we sort of go back into the 80s and there's this sort of multi-level where we're enjoying the humor and the horror of what it was like for men and women in the workplace, dating in the 80s. But then there's also this sort of commentary layer. Let's just talk about like how you got first attached to the projects and what interested you about this, because it is a very specific kind of TV show.
Well, I got sent it, just some sides, and I tried not to audition for it because I didn't think I would ever get the part. He was blonde and blue-eyed, and I also just didn't think they would ever cast me as this super confident person. So I tried not to audition for it, and my agents forced me to audition for it. So I sent the tape and didn't think I would ever hear anything again. And in fact, I didn't hear anything for 4 months. And then they said, "Oh, will you come and meet the producers?" And I was like, "Well, I guess." I think they saw everyone blonde-haired and blue-eyed, and somehow couldn't find someone. And then I did a chemistry read with Bella, who plays Taggy. And then it was quite quick after that. But I really like your story of how you got involved.
Yeah.
With Stanley, right?
Well, I didn't know that that's how I got involved at first. I just got sides too. Like my agent sent me these sides, no script. And I remember reading it and I was like, I'll move for this, for her. I just remember reading Cameron. And you know what my audition sides were? When I go in and Declan's like, and where's this Cameron Cook guy?
Yeah.
And it's like, I'm Cameron Cook. And to see how smart she was, I just loved how smart she was and how bossy and how clever she was and just her fearlessness. And yeah, that was it for me. But I didn't know at the time that I was auditioning for it, that our producer, one of our EPs, Felicity, she was like with a screening of another project that I was in with Stanley Tucci. It was the Whitney Houston I Want to Dance with Somebody. And she tells Stanley, like, that's Cameron. And I didn't know any of this was happening.
Oh, wow.
Like, that's her. So I think that's how I kind of got the audition, too. But I didn't know. I just thought it kind of just, like, landed on my agent's desk. But I guess it did through her. So I'm really grateful to Felicity for thinking of me and seeing me as Cameron. Because, yeah, I didn't know anything about Rivals. As me being from America, I didn't hear anything about the books from over there. And it's just this world. I was just going off the audition. And that alone and the writing within that is what got me.
Yeah, and you both play these like really tough exterior characters, but yet you both got this wonderful vulnerability. What is it you do to bring that through? When are the moments that you decide to shine those little spotlights of vulnerability?
I would say for my character, she wants love. I think she wants it all. And I mean, we all need a little love. We all need a companion. We need somebody to come home to, be held by.
Look at me.
Podcast bromance love.
Yeah, so I think Cameron is a woman.
You too.
Yeah. I believe Cameron is a woman who believes that she can have it all, and she does want it all. She does want the love too, as well as winning in her career.
She just looks in all the wrong places.
She just doesn't make the right choices.
Yeah.
You know, still a young woman on her journey, trying to find her way and find herself in very transactional relationships. But I think to create a fully flawed and fully embodied character, you do have moments where you not only want to see her winning and being so strong in the workplace and being this woman who can run a company, but she's also someone who wants to be loved and held. And there's a vulnerable side to her, which I think we get to see more of in season 2.
Great. And for you, Alex?
It was really interesting. Jilly Cooper would come on set a lot, and she obviously, Rupert was absolutely massive in her life and was her sort of hero. Obviously, he's a very complicated character. She would be really insistent that I not show much vulnerability because he's, in her mind, was very alpha and, a winner and not sort of, weak in a kind of 80s butch way, I suppose. And I felt that the script was suggesting that he also had a really, sort of quietly vulnerable interior life that he just put a strong face on all the time. And I think you always want to really, I suppose, in projects and characters with any sort of depth, is pull the opposites of the characters as much as you can to create a sort of internal landscape and tension. So obviously he's very confident in lots of ways and very sort of charismatic and alpha, but you want to be able to show, and often with him it's his relationship with animals, dogs, horses and stuff like that, that you see more of his softer side.
So just going a little bit on to like first day on set, when you were like really experiencing your characters, and you're hearing from the showrunners and the sort of new directors and the writers. What is that process like for you? Obviously it's not necessarily a playable choice to have a certain vision for what the 80s were like in this, but it does have its own kind of landscape in terms of like the comedy, the drama, the way it all sort of fits together.
I mean, I found it terrifying. I don't know about you. I found often the first day you're trying to work out who the character, everyone is trying to work out who the character is, or sort of how to embody the character. And a lot of that is not quite getting it right. I'm sort of pushing it one way and pushing it the other way. And it's quite a vulnerable place. And I think particularly for Rupert, there was a lot of pressure on the idea that he was this particular sort of person. And it took a minute to sort of kind of land on it, I suppose. I hope I have now managed it.
Definitely have.
Thank you.
I think for me, it was a lot of art imitating life. Like, one, I'll go back to what you said. We're all nervous first day, even first season, because we're still finding these characters and we're understanding who they are. But just like Cameron, I myself come in here, I didn't know much about England, and I didn't know much about the Cotswolds and just this countryside life that we find ourselves in. A lot of the sayings, a lot of just the isms of the culture I didn't know. So for me, it was just having to just come in and try to learn as much as I could and be embraced by them and kind of keep my eyes and my ears open, because I had no clue, just like Cameron. It's just like, what is this? A lot of this is weird. Like, what's going on? But it's new, and it's, things that are new are weird to you until you figure them out, and then you feel like you understand.
Amazing.
Thank
you. It's been such a great chat, and loving seeing how season 2 is developing and what depth you both bring to the roles.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Nice to see you.
Really nice to see you. So there we have it. That was our Rivals special. What a little treat that was for you. I hope you enjoyed it. Quite a lot about the acting process there, and also about TV writing, directing for huge TV shows as well. Next week, I think very likely, unless things go wrong, which they often do, we are putting out an AI special. How it can help you, how major advances are moving forward, where it can make a difference to you and your filmmaking. And we're talking to a team called Arcana Labs who have created something for filmmakers. So look out for that. That's next week with me and Phil Hawkins on that one. So until then, go out there and make your films and TV. Make it happen. Believe in yourselves as always. And if you're lucky enough to rise up and do well, it is your duty to send the elevator back down. And I mean it. Please send it down. It's quite funny how so many people sort of rise up and they don't do it. I know obviously it takes so long to get them, we work so hard, so I get that side too, but we can always help, right? It doesn't take much. And if we're good enough, no one's taking our jobs. That's how I see it. And hey, if that's the case, maybe it's not for us or for me. But I will keep going, I'll keep fighting. Lots of exciting things happening, that's for sure. Like I say, Cam was amazing. Loads more on that next week. So for now, have a great weekend. It's a late one, I know, in terms of putting this episode out. But I've been busy, I've been in Cannes. What can I say? So there's 4 of them to edit. Please forgive me, don't hate me. If you like this, not just me chatting shit, but the episode itself and the podcast itself, please do me a huge favour. And I mean this, go on to your podcast of choice right now and just write a lovely review. And if nothing else, subscribe. And if you are going to go and watch on YouTube, which I suggest you do because some of these interviews are hilarious and funny, and to see it in person is even better, then please subscribe and write underneath that episode something nice. Why not? Why would you not do that? It's free. We do this for the fun of it. So help me out because it makes me feel lovely. That warm coziness inside. Speaking of which, it's absolutely boiling. I'm roasting in this room. I'm going to go meet a friend for a beer. Richard Shaw, he's ace, brilliant actor. And we're going to talk about our project Hamlet. I hope so. Anyway, so for now, go out there and do things that excite you, whatever it is. I don't care as long as you're happy. Until then, till I see you on Tuesday, or speak to each other in this kind of weird way, which is through me thinking you're listening and you thinking I know that you're listening, but I have no idea. But now we both know because it's happening. Ridiculous. I'm going. Bye. Bye.